good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a very productive Thursday. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition tonight. Rwanda has condemned DR Congo efforts to undermine regional and African-led initiatives for peace by lobbying Western governments against Rwanda's development projects and fueling ethnic extremism against Congolese people. Deputies have urged relevant authorities to closely monitor delayed projects that later demand additional funding despite prior feasibility studies. And on the international scale, Makiv, a small town in western Ukraine, is grappling with the absence of men. Many have either fled, are fighting, or have died fighting the Russian invasion. We are glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and I bringing you the news this Thursday evening is Martina Abera. Let us start off by informing you that Rwanda has condemned DR Congo efforts to undermine regional and African-led initiatives for peace by lobbying Western governments against Rwanda's development projects and fueling ethnic extremism against Congolese people. Adam Squizera with more.
In a special sitting of the UN Security Council held on Wednesday to discuss on the security crisis in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, Nestor Guamucho, Rwanda's permanent representative to the UN, called on the Council to condemn actions of countries that compromise regional efforts in conflict.
However, we must condemn the actions of those, including a DRC, who undermine these efforts by lobbying Western capitals instead of engaging with African leadership and regional mechanisms. Despite the critical nature of the recent regional discussions, the DRC has consistently opted for virtual presence or outright disengagement in these key meetings. While regional leaders gathered at the AU summit to address the Eastern DRC security situation, the president of DRC, President Tshisekedi, was instead seen at the Munich Security Conference, continuing to call for sanctions and lobbying for sanctions against Rwanda rather than engaging in direct dialogues. Other heads of state were sitting in Addis trying to find solutions to these problems. So the biggest beneficiary of these discussions could have been benefited by being in that room.
Ambassador Guamucho emphasizes that the solution to this issue should not be found in requesting sanctions on any particular country.
If sanctions or punitive measures were the solution to these regional problems, Rwanda would be the first to support them. However, history has shown otherwise. These only deepen division and undermine regional peace efforts.
Wherever it has the opportunity to speak, the DRC government denies the collaboration with the FDLR, Wazalendo, and the European mercenaries, despite the existence of various evidence supporting these claims. Russian representative to the United Nations, Vasily Nebenzia, highlights that it reflects a weakness on the Western countries and the UN, who continue to ignore the reality of the situation. I want to speak specifically about the topic that everyone is aware of has been deliberately ignored. The issue of mercenary activities in DRC. We have all seen them handing over weapons to MONUSCO troops, and the images of these European mercenaries being transported through Kigali have been seen globally. This is especially surprising considering the false propaganda that has been targeting Russia for years due to its growing cooperation with African countries on security matters. This is nothing more than a colonial hypocrisy that is being exposed. Recently, the joint EAC-SADC summit demanded cessation of hostilities, implementation of an earlier approved harmonized plan for neutralization of the FDLR, and peaceful negotiations to be held under the new merged Luanda and Nairobi processes.
Deputies have urged relevant authorities to closely monitor delayed projects that later demand additional funding despite prior feasibility studies. They suspect these delays may be linked to corruption. This concern was raised during the plenary session as they approved the bill amending the 2024-2025 national budget. We have more on this report coming from Olive Nete.
The Committee on Economic Development and Finance presented its report to the plenary session following visits to all districts and the city of Kigali from January 13th to 23rd, 2025. The outreaches aimed to assess the budget implementation rate for the first half of the 2024-2025 fiscal year and evaluate the progress of key development projects. The report indicates that 68% of the budget has been executed. The committee chairperson, Uwamariya Odette, expressed confidence that the budget will be fully implemented by the end of June 2025, despite identifying delays in the execution of certain projects. The districts that used the highest percentage of the national budget include Ngororero at 59%, Bugesera at 55%, Gakenke at 54%, Rutsiro at 52%, and Kayonza at 51%. On the other hand, the districts that used less than 40% of their budget are Muhanga at 36%, Musanze at 36% as well, Huye at 37%, Rulindo at 38%, and Gisagara at 39%. The delay in utilizing the budget has been attributed to factors such as delayed tenders for some projects and the non-receipt of certain funds, particularly for projects that are carried out in collaboration with partners supporting the government. Some MPs raised concerns about previously initiated projects that experienced delays, leading to repeated requests for additional funding. When projects are initiated without proper planning or are launched with unrealistic demands, it contradicts the laws governing the use of the national budget, which is primarily funded by taxes and other sources contributed by residents. In the usual planning process, large projects are typically evaluated by the Public Investment Committee. However, projects that arise and proceed without proper planning create significant opportunities for corruption and manipulation between those who review them and those responsible for execution. And this is a major issue that needs to be addressed as it conflicts with the principles of good governance. After reviewing the draft law, the plenary session approved the law amending and determining the national budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. As a result, the budget for 2024-2025 was increased from 5,690.1 billion Rwandan francs to 5,816.4 billion Rwandan francs, reflecting an additional allocation of 126.3 billion Rwandan francs. Olive Dinte, RTV News.
Thank you, Oli, for that report. The Ministry of Local Government is urging parents to approach the relevant authorities to provide them with information regarding the identification codes for each child, as these will be used in services such as healthcare and education. These codes will also be required when children apply for national identification cards. Inora Gladys has more.
Uwimana Chantal, a resident of Funge sector in Rwamagana district, has young children but says she is unsure whether it is necessary for her children to have identification codes in the civil registry. For many of us like me, we are not aware of this program, like me who gave birth 7 years ago, so I don't really know if that is necessary. On the other hand, some parents are aware of this program. Like if I was born in the southern province and I want to get my ID here, I would have to go back to the south to get the code. But today, since everyone will have their own code, it will be easier to get an ID no matter where you are. Civil registration and notary officials in the Eastern Province say that the identification numbers given to children have simplified service delivery and addressed various issues in local government services that are close to the people. We are really excited about the progress made so far. Today, every child born in a hospital is immediately registered and receives their identification code number. Even if they don't take it with them, we can immediately access it in the system. So when they come, we can retrieve it. The National Identification Agency states that 10% of children born each year miss out on the program of receiving an identification code that is used in civil registration services. Those who miss registration in the year of birth make up 10%, but if they are not registered within that year, they later get the opportunity to be registered and receive their own codes. In 2007, all Rwandans who were registered in civil registry books in sectors were entered into the digital database of the National Identification Agency. Since October 2020, all children born are automatically registered and assigned an identification number that is used for various services and will also be used when they apply for a national identity card at the age of 16. Those who missed out on this program or have errors in their details can have it corrected at any sector office, as well as those who wish to know the identification numbers assigned to their children. Among children born in hospitals, 1 out of every 100 children misses out on this program, while 9% of children born at home are also not registered in the civil registry database, preventing them from receiving their code.
Thank you, Inor Gladys, for that report. Now, investors in mineral mining in Rwanda say that using technology has helped them increase production and discover new types of minerals. Meanwhile, residents in areas near mining sites and the workers in the mines themselves confirm that this mining activity has transformed their lives. Serge Nore with more.
In the western province, in the districts of Rubavu, Rutsiro and Ngororero, which are among those with significant mining activities, minerals such as casterite, coltan, wolfram, beryllium, lithium, gold, and others are extracted. It is professional underground mining. Large-scale investments utilizing technology help in conducting sustainable mining that does not harm the environment or pose risks to workers.
Up to 120 people work in this mine daily. That is the miners and their assistants. So before work begins, a team of 12 people, myself included, first go down and inspect the area using measurements provided by the Rwanda Standards Board and the Rwanda Mines Petroleum and Gas Board. We focus on the air quality using gas detectors and the structural integrity of the tunnels themselves, and if the electrical installations are safe. We basically look at anything that can present a danger to the miners and note it down. Any issues found must first be addressed before the miners can come in.
In these districts rich in minerals, thousands of miners, including youth, women, and the elderly, affirm that mining has changed their lives, enabling them to progress thanks to the minerals.
We have developed, thanks to this mining. When I started working here, I was just a young single man, and now my child is in the 4th year of secondary school. I now own farmlands and cattle, as well as a motorcycle for my personal use. All of that is thanks to this work.
People used to live here, but no one knew that the ground beneath contained minerals, and technology later revealed the precious stones. I've been working here for the last year and a half, and during that time, I've been able to buy 3 cows, and I'm only getting started. A 2017 study revealed that Rwanda has 52 areas containing minerals, with 37 of them having already been granted mining licenses. Cooperatives, private individuals, and international investors engaged in mining confirm that having infrastructure and promoting technology in mineral extraction have contributed to increasing production. They affirm that as this technology continues to advance, they are confident that they will discover even more valuable minerals than those currently being extracted.
Rwanda has lots of minerals in places like here in Rubavu, as well as in Rutsiro and Muhanga districts. We used to use very outdated methods of mining, but that has now all changed thanks to President Paul Kagame. He played a key role in the transformation by providing us with electricity, greatly boosting productivity levels. We have even constructed our own processing plant, and the objective is to now increase our productivity levels from 12 to 20 tons and even more. They have started the construction of the first processing plant, and after that is complete, phase 2, that involves the construction of another plant, will begin. I have therefore been encouraging more of my friends to come to Rwanda to invest, especially in the mining sector.
arahagije kuko tubona muri toni 7 ku kwezi.
There are plenty of minerals here because we extract up to 7 tons every month, and we are happy about that. But after our processing plant is complete, we expect to double that to 14 tons per month. We usually extract coltan and cassiterite, but it's not unusual to find things like lithium and beryllium. Rwanda certainly has many precious stones. They are just yet to be discovered. I am confident that in 5 years we will be able to increase our current figures by a factor of 10 because the truth is that more potential areas of excavation are being discovered all the time. We expect even more gold reserves to be found because in places like Karongi district, gold fragments have been found in streams and even sapphire has been found in Ngororero district.
Data from the Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board for 2023 indicate that in that year, Rwanda exported minerals worth over $1.1 billion, up from $772 million, marking a 43.0% increase. The head of the Mining and Quarry Inspection Division at RMB, Donat Nsengumuremyi, stated that their goal is to promote mineral mining and increase its profitability for the country.
The first phase involves research to determine exactly how much resources the country has when it comes to mineral reserves, because the full potential is currently not being exploited. Second, all mining facilities must fully embrace more modern mining methods. And thirdly, there must be processing of what is extracted to eliminate other regular rocks that are not needed.
The Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board indicates that beneath Rwanda's soil, there are 112 million tons of various minerals, valued at $154 billion annually. Gold is among the most significant contributors to Rwanda's mineral revenue. However, the gold traded as originating from Rwanda is not exclusively mined there, as some is imported from other countries and refined in Rwandan industries.
For that report. American international singer John Legend is set to perform in Kigali tomorrow, Friday, the 21st of February, for the Move Africa concert organized by Global Citizen. John Roger Stevens, better known by his stage name John Legend, was born on the 28th of December 1978 in Springfield, Ohio, making him 46 years old. A talented pianist, guitarist, and songwriter, he is renowned for his distinctive voice, whether performing solo in R&B or collaborating with other prominent artists. In addition to his music career, Legend is also an actor. Married to fashion industry professional Chrissy Teigen, the couple has 4 children. Teigen, who has been in a relationship with Legend for 20 years, appeared in the music video for his iconic song, All of Me, one of his biggest hits. Legend's musical journey began in the late 1990s, but his breakthrough came in 2004 when he joined Kanye West's Good Music label, releasing albums that garnered widespread acclaim. In addition to All of Me, his notable songs include Love Me Now, Tonight, Ordinary People, and Green Light. Throughout his career, John Legend has earned numerous prestigious awards, including Grammy Awards, Emmys, Oscars, and Tony Awards. In 2017, he was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Following his performance in Kigali, Legend is expected to take the stage in Lagos, Nigeria, for yet again another concert. In Musanze district, local investors across various sectors have expressed the need for support from larger investors to enhance the productivity of their operations. This was highlighted during discussions on Indian investment, which is centered on the investment opportunities within the district.
Musanze district is regarded as a prime tourist destination, boasting fertile land and numerous attractions that present significant opportunities for investors. However, some entrepreneurs already capitalizing on these prospects have indicated a continued need for larger investments to fully unlock the district's potential. During discussions on Indian investment, which brought together the leadership of the and various institutions in Musanze district, the Indian ambassador to Rwanda emphasized that they are committed to capitalizing on the emerging activities and investment opportunities in the region. Musanze district already hosts Indian investments, particularly in the industrial sector. However, other sectors, including education, healthcare, agriculture, tourism and hospitality, are seeking to attract larger-scale investments. Northern Province Governor Maurice Mugawagahunde noted that the discussions held were promising and provided encouraging prospects for further collaboration. The Rwanda Development Board report for 2023 indicates that Indian remittances were the largest source of foreign remittances in Rwanda, totaling $175.2 million. However, the Indian Embassy in Rwanda has since reported that this figure has now increased to $400 million.
Rwanda Forestry Authority, in collaboration with the Center of Excellence in Biodiversity and Natural Resource Management at the University of Rwanda, have launched the Legacy Tree Project, an national initiative launched to identify, document and protect Rwanda's oldest and most ecologically significant trees. Through a nationwide documentation effort, the project will identify and map legacy trees across Rwanda, collect historical and cultural narratives associated with these trees, engage local communities in conservation efforts, develop policies for the protection of these natural landmarks, and introduce a legacy tree tour to promote ecotourism and community-based conservation efforts.
First of all, we're losing biodiversity here in Rwanda, but also all over the world, and trees are a big part of that. And secondly, those trees are associated with traditional knowledge. So Rwanda has a culture that is intimately connected to biodiversity and trees, but we also know that young people are maybe not learning about that, or some people are forgetting about that connection. So this project is raising awareness about the importance of trees in the environment and for the culture. And in the environment, they're important because trees are important for sequestering carbon. That's important for carbon for climate mitigation. That means, for example, Rwanda has completed nationally determined contributions, and part of that is mitigation and also adaptation. So keeping trees in the environment contributes to both those objectives of adaptation and mitigation. And for adaptation, we know that large trees in the environment, they provide shade, they contribute to soil fertility, they can mitigate heavy rainfall and erosion control, and they also provide habitat for birds and pollinators, which provide services for the surrounding agriculture land. So there's many different values for these trees. The other really amazing thing about these trees is that we are sure that they're going to have really interesting stories. They're there in the landscape as legacies of what that landscape used to be like when there was more trees and more native vegetation. And we want to capture those stories before they're completely lost, from elders, from community members, from women, from men, and make sure that we record those so that everyone can know about the incredible stories and the names of these trees, and people remember them from a long time ago. And we are also going to provide a map of these trees so that we can have that as a legacy so people can find them. We also have this ambition to create a tourism product so people can come and visit these trees and learn about their stories and learn about their beauty and their names. We really want everybody to contribute. We want to document all the trees that are out there. So if anybody in any corner of the country is aware of a tree that they think is a legacy tree, we are providing different ways that they can submit their tree and record it and send it to us. And then we will be sending out a team to meet them wherever they are in the country and look at the tree with them and measure it and confirm that it's a legacy tree and get it documented. And we will be providing the links for how to do that and submit the information about the tree.
Some of the special characteristics of these trees are that one tree can absorb about 22 kilograms of carbon dioxide every year, support 2 million organisms throughout its life, effectively promoting biodiversity, and one tree has the potential to release 50,000 liters of water, which feeds back into the water cycle, promoting rainfall. Residents of Kamonyi district have expressed concerns that sand trucks are damaging bridges and roads in the area. In response, local authorities are addressing these concerns by beginning to construct infrastructure that can support the heavy vehicles operating in the region. Currently, many bridges across the sectors were designed based on the types of vehicles such as Toyota Stout, Dyna, Daihatsu or Hilux, owned by a few local businessmen at the shopping center. However, these bridges are now being used by trucks carrying tens of tons of sand, leading to the deterioration of the roads, which is a frequent complaint amongst users. The community is requesting that infrastructure be developed to accommodate the weight of the heavy vehicles that dominate these roads. The Kamonyi District Administration has announced that the growing number and size of vehicles has led to a request for a revision of the initial infrastructure studies. However, the government has not yet expanded the project to build additional bridges in the sectors, particularly along roads used for sand mining. Uziel Nyongira, the mayor of Kamonyi district, also mentioned that they have established relationships with employers involved in sand mining, and as a result, they contribute to maintaining the roads used to access the mines. Construction experts highlight that there are established standards for vehicles used in the region where Rwanda is located. Engineer Munyenwari Paul, a contractor working with Kamonyi district, believes that infrastructure projects in the district should be planned with these standards in mind. However, while not all bridges are designed to support the volume or weight of vehicles operating in areas where construction equipment is being used, there is still room for increased efforts to improve road conditions in these areas. In addition to considering the large number of vehicles in Kamonyi district sectors, engineers agree with residents that bridges should be designed to accommodate the size and flow of rivers, which are now experiencing higher water levels due to irregular rainfall patterns caused by climate change. On Thursday, military officials at the ministerial level from the Northern Corridor countries, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, and South Sudan, reviewed the documents outlining the military agreements between the nations. Brigadier General Celestin, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Defense, informed RBA that these documents will be presented for further discussion by the defense ministers of the participating countries tomorrow. Following this, agreements will be submitted to the summit of the heads of state from the involved nations in the coming days.
Today's meeting on mutual defense cooperation cluster was organized at the permanent secretary and undersecretary of defense level for Northern Corridor integrated projects. So the purpose of the meeting was to discuss and consider mutual defense pact implementing instruments. Namely, 1, the draft coordination mechanism of foreign affairs on defense and security policy. 2, draft mechanism on accession to mutual defense pact. And lastly, the draft coordination mechanism for comprehensive conflict prevention, management, and resolution. So in today's meeting, the delegates considered and adopted recommendations from the technical committee. So next tomorrow, these documents that we analyzed today and related recommendations, they will be submitted to tomorrow's meeting that will be discussed and adopted by our respective Minister of Defense for consideration and adoption in preparation to the 15th summit.
Alo, waramutse sheri wanjye.
Utekereza ko guhora wivugana n'umushu ari byo birenze? Natwe niko tubibona. Ubona nta cyakurutira kugaragaza impano yawe. Niko bimeze.
So guys, uyu munsi tugiye kuganira tugaseke. Agaseke njye gafite byinshi. Kamari, ese wowe kakumara iki? Manudi. Halo Manudi, ni ibiki uri kunkura mu kazi?
rero mabusha byahiye kandi noneho bimeze neza cyane ukuntu biri no guhumura ako Manudi urumva nakumva ko ibiryo bihumura koko
ubona ntacyakubitira umwuga wawe erega natwe niko tubibona dushyigikiye buri kimwe agaciro mu buzima bwawe na irekure nshya buri wese arahishiwe wikwisondeka kanda akanyenyeri 140 urwego uhitemo agaseke kawe ka packs zo guhamagara cyangwa akanyenyeri 345 urwego uhitemo bando za interineti uryoherwe n'umuvuduko wa 4G.
Urugaga rw'abaganga b'ababyaza bashinzwe gukurikirana ubuzima bw'imyororokere y'abakobwa n'abagore mu Rwanda RSOG rubararikiye gukurikirana ikiganiro RSOG Talk Show kizajya gitambuka kuri televiziyo y'u Rwanda buri wa gatanu isaa 11:15 z'umugoroba. Ikiganiro kizibanda ku buzima bw'abakobwa n'abagore by'umwihariko ku bijyanye n'ubuzima bw'imyororokere, kubyara ndetse n'urugendo rwo kuba umuganga wita ku buzima bw'abakobwa n'abagore mu Rwanda. Abaganga b'inzobere baturutse mu bice bitandukanye by'igihugu bazadusangiza byinshi kuri iki kiganiro kizatambuka kuri televiziyo y'u Rwanda.
Welcome back and thank you for keeping it on RTV News. Now to other matters elsewhere. Makiv, a small town in western Ukraine, is grappling with the absence of men. Many have either fled, are fighting, or have died fighting the Russian invasion. Those left behind fear for Ukraine's future as they struggle to rebuild their lives. VOA has the details.
Memorials of fallen soldiers line the main square of Makiv. The photos capture their faces in happier times. Above them, a slogan that has become one of the defining mantras of this war: glory to the heroes. Makiv is more than 600 kilometers from the front lines. Yet, few places illustrate the deep impact of this war as vividly. Here, men of military age exist only in photographs, or in the lonely graves of the town cemetery. Everyone else is gone.
Look, where are the people? The people are hiding. They were intimidated.
Driver Alexander Komovsky has lived in Germany for more than 30 years. He returned to his hometown for the first time since the war began to renew his documents, only to find that all his friends and relatives were gone. It's a tragedy, he says. Kamovsky says many of the town's fighting-age men are hiding in the countryside to avoid being sent to the front lines. On the streets of Makiv in early February, most of the people VOA met were women. Many said that with the men gone, life has become much harder.
I am an old woman. I'm over 70. Of course, this is a bigger problem for younger women, those left behind with children. If a man is at home, he is not only a protector, but also a provider. He helps with everything, especially financially.
Якщо чоловік вдома, то він не тільки защитник.
Many villages and towns across western Ukraine are struggling with the absence of men. But Makiv is also a reflection of a larger demographic crisis that was already reshaping Ukraine before the war. The government says the country's population has fallen from 52 million in 1991 to just 32 million in 2024.
This fact scares me a lot. So many people left with their families and he changed everything in the country. The country itself has changed a lot. It's sad because so many people are gone. I have no girlfriends, no friends. Almost all my family has left. And it's just sad.
Angelina Bondar is only 15. One of her neighbors died in the war. Some are still fighting. Many of her friends left before even reaching adulthood. She knows that one day will be up to her generation to rebuild Ukraine. She is just not sure she's ready to face that challenge. Yamwesha, VOA News, Kyiv, Ukraine.
And that VOA story marks the end of our bulletin. Before we close off, let's have a recap of our headlines. Rwanda has condemned DR Congo efforts to undermine regional and African-led initiatives for peace by lobbying Western governments against Rwanda's development projects and fueling ethnic extremism against Congolese people. Deputies have urged relevant authorities to closely monitor delayed projects that later demand additional funding despite prior feasibility studies. On the international scale, Kyiv, a small town in western Ukraine, is grappling with the absence of men. Many have either fled or fighting or have died fighting the Russian invasion. Once again, we'd like to thank you very much for sticking with us on RTV News. And on behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team, we would like to wish you to have a great night and to stay safe.